Hey, welcome back. Oh man, today, here's a question for you. You believe in ghosts? Oh, I hope so, because today's guest is all about spirits and ghosts and paranormals. My name is Dacquino. Our guest is Kathy O'Donnell.
Hey.
Kathy, you were my second guest 200 shows ago.
Oh, I can't believe
you
that.
were one of my very first. And we talked about what it was like growing up paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And you are now involved in a brand new book.
Yes.
I know, because I'm right by your side. And we've been working on this weekly.
Yes.
It's fascinating what it was like growing up being sensitive to the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about your life as a intuitive person.
Well, it started, I can remember from the crib,
Wow.
seeing.
So you have
and
crib
sensing-
memories of
yes,
spirits.
Yes, I do.
Woo.
Yeah. And they weren't all pleasant experiences.
Yeah, I would
I
imagine.
mean, and the book that I'm writing is really for young people who were growing up the same way I
So
did,
that-
but
yeah.
I had nowhere to turn to. Nowhere.
Yeah.
No books to read.
Yeah, nothing. And not a clear understanding of what the heck was happening.
Right.
I mean, just, at one point you're like, dead people live here.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so you saw lights and you saw all kinds of things,
Right.
and strange phenomena that people just did not see with you.
Right.
And your parents didn't really believe.
No.
Even later in life, your husband didn't believe either.
No.
So even today, and you've been through so much
Yeah.
with these spirits, you go into homes.
I do. I founded Katona Paranormal in 1995, but I didn't really get out to the public to help other homeowners and stuff. I didn't do the website until then, till 2004, because of some of the TV shows that were on.
Yeah, and some of them are...
In the very beginning, it was false information. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this and I'm like, no.
I mean, the ghosts you see aren't Casper.
No.
And they're not the Frankenstein, and they're not...
No, it's just, it was upsetting to me that these hunters were out hunting people without bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no respect, and that truly hurt
And
my
the
heart.
belief is that when a body dies, the soul, spirit, doesn't
energy.
necessarily die too.
You cannot destroy energy.
Yeah.
That's a scientific fact. I mean, I
I
don't...
had a weird experience 2 days ago where I actually had to take the shovel and throw the dirt on a friend. It was part of the tradition. And when that dirt hit that casket and it made that loud thump of a noise, I'm thinking, is he really in there? Or is he here? What makes you think that just because you destroy a body,
Right.
you destroy the spirit or the energy
You don't.
that was in that? The body is more like a conductor.
It's
You
just
know,
a shell.
the energy, it's a shell of
It's so that we can come here and experience life.
So you, as a young girl, saw a whole lot of things.
Yes.
You saw spirits in the bedrooms and people hanging.
Yeah.
All kinds of things. So you had to take that experience and you kind of like lived with it for a long time. You never shared this with schoolmates, and you didn't even share it with your sister who had the same power. And you had no idea she had the same ability.
I had no
till years
idea
later.
until we were in our early 20s, and we discovered we each had the same gift. That's how terrified my sister was. I did say some things to my parents and stuff, and I did get punished in school, and because I would say, "There's so and so standing over there," and they had passed, and then I would get punished. But My sister is very quiet. And
Yeah.
so that was a real shock. I was like,
Well, I mean, even now, it's taken you a long time to get this book together.
Yes.
I mean, it's getting close. There's some wonderful things in this book. A little spooky, a little intimidating, but truths for you.
it is for me. And one thing I want to clarify is, I mean, I would be considered, if you have to put a name on it, I suppose I'm a medium because
Yeah.
I can communicate with people who have passed on.
Yeah, and you help them translate and communicate with the living.
Absolutely. But here's the thing, not all mediums are the same. I'm not like
You don't
The
have a
TV
table with a
no, I'm not like the
crystal
TV
ball.
mediums who can
Yeah.
sort of call on somebody. I allow,
They call on you.
they do. And unless they do, if somebody says, well, can you contact my mother? No. Unless she wants to contact me, I cannot pull it out of my hat.
You came to me a long time ago when I was doing the book on George Denny, Hauntings of the Hudson River
Yes.
Valley.
Yeah.
I went to Smalley's Inn and told him what I was doing, and he said, "Oh man, come here Saturday." And there I came Saturday,
Yeah.
and there was Kathy O'Donnell
Yeah.
and her crew with cameras and all kinds of equipment. We went down into that basement, and it was freaky because you connected me to things I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And then we went to Central Park.
Oh.
I'll never forget when there we were in Central Park, and you're standing there in this field, and you said, "I think this is where he died,
Yeah.
here by the stream."
Right.
And I'm like, "Yo, Kathy, ain't no stream over here."
There was.
And you said, "Yeah, but there was once."
Right.
And then we had the historian with us.
Right.
And the historian said, "She's right. It was diverted.
Right.
The stream actually ran right through
Right.
this spot where she's talking."
Yeah.
And that was freaky to me.
Yeah.
Another time, we went to the grave. We went to where Abraham Wanzer, was supposedly shotgunned by George Denny.
Right.
And we went to the cabin, the remains, the foundation, and
Yeah.
that was freaky.
Yeah.
Then we went to the cemetery. We don't know for sure where George Denny was buried,
Right.
but I remember you're going there and saying, "I think it was here." We were in the cemetery, unmarked grave,
Right.
and then I look up, and in my research, I realized that the name on the stone was his uncle.
Right.
We were right there in the family,
plot, right.
And you went there without even any idea that this was the family plot.
Right.
So you freaked me out, Kathy.
It's nothing to be freaked out about.
No, it's not. It's just that
Once you're educated, you know, it brings
dead
light
people
to
live
everything.
here.
Oh, they
I mean,
absolutely
we
do.
share this space with energy of people who have been here before us.
Right. Right.
So you're writing this wonderful book, and it's all about some of these wild experiences. The house you were in, oh my God.
Several
Dashiell
of the
Hammett.
houses, yeah.
Dashiell Hammett lived in the cottage
Right.
behind the house you live in.
Right.
And very few people even know that. Tell us a little bit about that story. You went there to that house, and you realized that there were spirits.
Well, the first person I met was the former owner.
Yeah.
And
Who was really there?
No, well,
Who was a living being.
He was alive when we first met him, and he had passed, which I
And then he
didn't
came
know.
back.
And my son saw him. So both my children have inherited the gift.
Oh my God. So here
Yeah.
we go, another generation.
Not so great for one, and the other one just ignores it, and that's perfectly fine. But he kept telling me about this man, so I said, well, what does he look like? So he described.
And he described that owner
He-
right to a T.
Absolutely, to the wire rim glasses, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, here we go.
I know.
Here we go. But then I found that there was another spirit,
Wow, yeah.
and it was
Dashiell Hammett.
And my
the famous
daughter-in-law
actor.
took a photograph of the window in the kitchen, and there were 3 men standing there, and there was Dashiell Hammett.
Oh my God.
and the owner, and I don't know who this other guy is. I'm still trying to find out.
Wow.
So,
So yeah, that's pretty freaky.
yeah.
And you then found real evidence, because there were manuscripts that were
in the house.
deteriorated,
Yes.
but they existed with Dashiell Hammett's name on it and everything.
Yeah.
So he did, in fact, live in that cottage
Oh,
behind the
yeah,
house.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And his partner,
Lillian Hellman.
yeah, Lillian Hellman.
Hellman.
And you actually had manuscripts of
Of
hers.
hers, but they were covered in black mold. There was no way to save those.
Wow.
And books that were signed, her books,
Oh my God.
and it's really a shame.
So it's been a wild experience. One time, my daughter came to me very upset. And she said, I think there's ghosts in my house.
And there was.
And you went there and, oh my God.
Yeah.
You came to me later and you said, get her the hell out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, there were no windows. There was a window in the front, a window in the back, but it was an apartment. There were people on both sides of her.
Right.
So there were no windows. So it was like a cave.
I know.
And you sensed a boy in there?
There was a boy who was killed in a car accident by the school.
I didn't even tell her all the
well,
details.
I'm glad you
But
didn't,
she
because that's upsetting.
Thankfully moved.
Well, he was a teenager and he was kind of
Yeah.
rambunctious. I mean, he was the one who flicked the paperclip at my sister. It just went, it went right off the dresser and it hit her.
Oh my God.
That was his way of saying, get out of here.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was, holy cow. And she was there at the time as a single parent with 2 kids.
I know. I mean, we tried to clear the house. I don't know if she had trouble after that.
Not as much.
Yeah.
She said he calmed down.
Yeah, well, I had to talk with
And then
him.
she moved very shortly after
Yeah.
that. That kind of freaked her out.
But that's what makes my gift with Katona Paranormal unique. A lot of groups are either all technology and science, which we need. I'm not arguing that. Or they're just me. So what I did was I combined the two.
Wow.
Science and it's easy. Instead of spending, first of all, I don't do nighttime. It's not necessary. They're walking around during the day. I don't know why they all go in at night.
I know, because they don't
Well,
have,
that's for TV.
They don't have day and
it's
night.
for TV, I suppose. It makes it like ooh.
Yeah.
But
And nighttime is quieter. You just don't hear all the noises and everything else, so you're able to tune in, I guess, a little better.
well,
at
no.
night.
During the day, I just ask the homeowners to either leave, which is better,
Yeah.
because they just cannot stop whispering. And then we're trying to get
we're
trying to get evidence, and it's like, no, stop.
Now, speaking of evidence, you have photos.
A few photos, yes.
Oh, Armanda, I know you're back there at the control room. There we go. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
What is that?
If you could see to the right, you could see it looks like somebody, it actually looks like Father Christmas to me. I mean, you know, with a
You
beard.
mean that big
but it's a
blob
woman.
that's there?
Yes.
That blob is not a statue?
No.
Oh
No,
my goodness.
no.
So it's some kind of a collection of energy or?
Yes.
Wow, I don't know
And it
what
was
that
not
is.
foggy. Nobody on my team smokes, and there's
Nothing on the lens of the camera?
2 orbs.
Wow.
The very dense white, you'll see, and they actually appear first, and then
So
the
that
mist.
little white dot at the
Yeah,
bottom
right,
is an orb.
right.
Wow.
Okay, let's go on to the next one.
So next one.
Let's see what we have. Oh, okay.
All right.
Now, this may, the dark shadow you see on the bottom is my friend. This was taken in a historical
taking the
home.
picture, so it's just a
No,
reflection.
she was just standing where it shadow. Look,
Oh, all right.
look at the top on the glass.
Yeah, what is that? Looks like a face.
Yes, do you see the face?
Yeah.
And it looks like, now this is near a storeroom of donated military items.
Wow.
I think it's a soldier. He wouldn't communicate with me. I kept trying. I felt him, and I kept saying,
He's
I know,
clear
I
as
know.
day. I mean, there's the eyes and the nose.
And you
the
can
mouth.
see he's got very sculptured, very high cheekbones. And he's kind of glaring at us like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Who are you and why are you here?
Right. So,
Freaky.
okay.
All right, another one. Oh,
Okay. This was in the same house, but in the basement. The audience may or may not be able to see it. It's a dog. And you can see, which I do come across a lot of animal spirits.
Really?
The bright white is his chest, and then you can see the head with the muzzle. It almost looks like a boxer. And the eyes,
Yep.
the head, the ears, and it looks like there's something in front, and then you see his paw down at the bottom.
So this, when I was doing hauntings, I was in a liquor closet.
Oh, I should have brought the photograph we got in there.
Oh my God, because that was like
That's,
formerly a morgue,
yeah.
and there's a reflection on a bottle.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And it's a baby.
Yeah.
It's a
It looks,
it
looks
the head,
inhuman.
A fetus.
Yeah,
And it was all cuddled. The head was
Yeah.
bent over, and the hands were there. And someone said, it's just a reflection.
No.
But again, spirits can manipulate energy
Of course.
and create images and
Of
pictures.
course they can.
With this, so that's freaky.
when they've been earthbound for a long time, they learn to use and manipulate the energy to.
Yeah. So that it could be a reflection, it could be a shadow, but it's not a coincidence
Right.
that it resembles something living.
Right.
Because we have to remember their bodies are gone.
Right.
So you're not seeing bodies,
Yeah.
you're seeing energy in the shape of bodies
Right.
so that they can communicate to you the image they want you to see.
Right. Right.
Freaky.
Yes.
Freaky.
You want to show a few
Oh,
more?
what's this?
That's another one. This was actually taken. You can't. It's starting to form on the right there, and then there was something else on the left, and this. And you can tell it wasn't foggy because if you see all around, it's clear at the bottom of the photograph. All right, go on to the next one.
Oh.
All right.
Now, what is that?
Same thing, just in a different area
Yeah.
of
So
the
this is a
graveyard.
mass of energy, almost like a fog.
Well, if you look at it, you can see the two legs at the bottom, you can see the torso and kind of the arms, and it looks like somebody sort of putting their head down. They weren't finished forming.
So they try to imitate bodies in human form.
Well, they try to appear like they
Appear
were.
like they were.
Yeah.
Yep. So that you're able to see that. Because again, their bodies no longer exist. Oh, look
This
at
is this is a good example of an orb in motion. And see the blue one at the bottom,
right.
and there's an orange one, but then it
So
started
orbs
to
aren't
take
always perfectly spherical. They're not always
no.
balls. They can be.
Not really. Most of them are, but they can also
Yeah.
morph those.
Oh, they can
Yeah.
morph into
All right.
forms.
Another dog, and you can see this was actually where there was dog fighting in a dog pit, they call it.
Wow.
And this dog was trying to communicate with me.
What happened?
They left him there to die because
Oh, jeez.
they were pit dogs fighting.
Yeah.
Way back when this was taken up in Brewster. And and this one, that is a woman with a coat. It's probably hard to see. Looks like she's crying, and if you think about it, a lot of emotion is expressed at graveyards. And you can see like from the 1800s, that was the type of coat they wore, it was split in the back, and she has her hair in a bun. But that broke my heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's trying to communicate. I mean, many times these spirits are trying to cross over,
Yeah.
and they're trying to communicate what they experienced.
Well, not all of them. Not all of them want to cross over. That's why a lot
They're
of them
willing to stay here.
Once they get a taste of staying here,
They
they're the ones that are difficult to send on their way. I was going to say get rid of. No.
because they're comfortable here.
They're comfortable, but they
that was
cause a
true
lot
with
of trouble.
Smalley's Inn.
Yeah.
When I went there were at least 9 spirits, and those spirits chose to be there. They entered through some kind of portal, and I mean, for example, 9-year-old Elizabeth Smalley. It's believed that she's still there,
Right.
and that's where she's comfortable because her father's there too.
Right.
Yet there's people in there, like the mother who gave birth.
The one Karen
fetus?
saw.
Yeah.
Karen saw her before we even got those photographs, and Karen kept saying,
Yeah.
my sister, there's a woman over there, and she's holding a dead baby.
Yeah, and it was believed that during the war they brought bodies there, and Smalley was the town coroner.
Yeah.
So they brought babies in there, and people died in there.
Yeah.
Freaky.
It is very freaky.
Okay. So any other photos we? Oh.
Well, that one you can't really see the. There's actually a vortex. This was in my son's room, but the white to the right, which you would be able to see, it's like swirling.
Oh wow.
So we might as well go on
So
to the
now
next
is that
one.
was that like a painting in his room or something?
Oh yeah. No, I was.
And-
okay. Now, the holidays at my house.
Oh.
Yay! Now that's an oil painting.
You give new meaning to having spirits at the holiday dinner.
Oh, yeah, I was not really happy with this photograph.
Wasn't those kind of spirits?
You know, just when you think you get rid of them and they come back again. You see where the arrow is pointing, that face appeared in the painting. And
Wow.
I've had the painting checked out. It's perfectly smooth. There is nothing like that on the painting. So somebody was making their presence known.
Wow, so that appeared there. Now,
And that is, there's somebody, and you can see the hands where the arrow's pointing.
yeah.
And you see the hands, and there's looks like a man sitting there looking at my nephew and me. I'm sitting there with the camera looking up at this guy. So I took a photograph.
And you could actually see it.
Yeah.
And so these things
He looked like an orb to me. So I just took a photograph, and that's what I got.
So these things don't only appear in photographs. Can they be seen without taking a photo? Mm-hmm. I mean, so can you actually see an orb
Yeah.
with the naked eye?
Yeah.
Ooh, I never have. The orbs that I've seen, and I've taken
Now that
photographs.
you've said that, you're gonna.
I know now I will. The orbs that I've seen have been in like photographs. Like we were in Smalley's Inn. My wife was with me, and she's in front of me, and she said, "Let's keep walking. I'm standing under the heater," and Tony says, "There's no heater over there," and she's going, "Yes, there's heat blowing on my neck." Well, they took a picture, and there was a clear orb right there on the neck.
See?
It's clear as can be. It's perfectly round, and that freaked her out.
Wow. I
But
wouldn't.
there's-
You don't really want them near you because they do try and some of them do try and take control.
Yeah.
Not possession. I'm not talking that. They just like to re-experience what it was like because they don't feel the same way. They cannot experience the same
Some
emotions.
of them are. Talk to me. I mean, we're running out of time, but all spirits aren't the same.
No.
Some of them are, and I forget what you called them, where they're just like they're living here. I mean, they're like going through daily chores, and they have no idea they're dead.
Oh, you're not talking. A residual.
Residuals,
That's just it's just like a movie clip. That's it.
Of their being
there
there.
is no communicating with that. It's just for some reason it's
It's just plain. It's like a vision of that person's life trapped in time.
right. Well, they
Not
say
even their
it-
life,
There's
right?
no
Just an
there's no
image.
intelligence behind it at all. All it is a movie clip.
Wow.
So that's a residual. Then there's the spirits
Who really are there?
who really are here and accidents, trauma. I'm sure everybody has heard of that. It's just too sudden.
And they just
So-
haven't crossed over yet.
No, they kind of miss their boat. There is a light that appears.
Right.
And they're afraid to go to it. So where do they go? They either go home
Yep.
or they stick with the car that they were in the car accident with or whatever, but they usually go back to
Yeah.
their house.
Wow.
It's sad. And then I communicate with them and negotiate to get them to move on. And if they don't want to move on, that's okay too. But I tell them you cannot bother the homeowners.
Right. Well, we're getting very close. We're probably down to the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Kathy, what do you make of all of this? Should people be afraid of ghosts?
No.
Some.
No.
There are evil spirits.
Yes, there are. Well, listen, if there was a nasty person alive, they're nasty when they're dead. And they even take more advantage when they're dead.
Wow.
So those are the ones that are very difficult to get rid of.
You avoid them.
I don't avoid them. I go in and I do try and help the homeowner.
You have to try to get them out. And you actually compromise. I mean,
No, I negotiate.
You go in there and you negotiate,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, you don't live here anymore, get out.
I mean, I do have tricks of the trade where I can make it quite difficult for them to stay there.
And they do have the ability. Just because a person dies in a place doesn't mean they're stuck in that place forever.
No.
Like,
no, they can
we
move on.
see in my book, Flowers by the Roadside.
Right.
The question is, do people who get killed by a car get stuck in that spot for the rest of their lives or rest of their deaths?
It all depends. It's so variable. It really is.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Last minute words to the audience.
Last minute. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Wonderful.
Understand these people when they were alive. You have to give them just as much respect when they're dead, if they're still hanging around. And they can ascend and come back to visit your relatives and stuff.
Okay. So, very important. I noticed that you're wearing a crucifix. Mm-hmm. You do believe in God.
Of course.
So, this isn't beyond religion. This is the fact that people live and people die.
Right.
People have souls. Souls live beyond bodies.
Right.
And you deal with some of those souls and spirits.
I try to help in whatever way I can.
And if people are frightened and believe that they have spirits in their house haunting them, they should go to someone like you to try to get help.
Yeah. You can go to Katona Paranormal.
Well, you heard it. If you're waking up with ghosts every day and you're scared to death because those spirits are there with you, it's not necessarily evil. And it's not necessarily horrible. Sometimes you have to live with them because dead people live here. Kathy, thank you so much.
Thank
It
you.
has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Come back when the book comes out.
I will,
What's
definitely.
the name of the book going to be?
I don't know.
Well, we don't even know that yet.
I don't know.
But we're about 30,000 words into it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wonderful book. Can't wait. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of One on One with Kathy O'Donnell.